Uh, uh. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the
Good
Morning
morning.
Deuce. This is going to be a very short podcast. I have had a really long day at the office, and I just don't have that much to give you today. It was certainly an eventful day in the news world, a historic day, really, because whether you like her or not, Hillary Clinton did something historic today. She is going to be pretty much officially the first female nominee for a major party in U.S. history, which is definitely something for the ages, something absolutely historic, and something, 45, 50 years ago would be just completely unheard of. I think Nixon said it like 40 years ago that sooner than we think, in the next 30 or 40 years, there'll be a female president. I think it was him. We'll have to look it up. So whether or not he'll be right, who knows if she'll win the general election. But she certainly appears to have the party's nomination, which is historic by any way you look at it. Couple weird stories popping into the news, unsettling ones. One at the University of Stanford, where a former swimmer, I believe he was, has been convicted of raping a girl behind a dumpster who was unconscious. And I think he got like a 20-day sentence. It was an extremely short sentence. And they said part of the reason he got it was the judge gave leniency because the dad wrote a letter that was basically like 20 minutes of poor decisions from my son shouldn't change his whole life. And the judge gave leniency, saying that extensive prison time would have a profound impact on this man who had otherwise been a good person. Well, it is supposed to have a profound impact because he raped someone. And the young woman who was raped wrote a letter and read it aloud in court. And if you haven't heard the letter, you should go find it. There's a CNN anchor who spent most of her show reading the letter aloud. It is incredibly profound. This woman, her journey, she had to, for about 1 year, most of a year, fight for her own case because she was unconscious and had no memory, so she couldn't account for the fact and be a witness to the fact that she had been raped, account for it. So she had to go through some struggle to let her own representation of the accounts happen because she was unconscious. I mean, the fight for her was ridiculous. So the idea, now there's over 360,000 signatures to get this California judge, removed because the sentence just does not make sense. The leniency makes no sense. To not have a profound impact is ridiculous when clearly this man decided he would do something irreparably wrong to this young woman. So that story is something that you can get riled up. It reminded me of an incident I had with a great friend, and I think I might have mentioned this before, but he got a DUI, and he came from an upper-class family, had a lot of family connections to lawyers, and the lawyers came and eventually got him, they called in a favor, got him off pretty much scot-free. I think he lost his license for like a month, and that was it, just during the whole process, and it didn't go on his record or anything. And he told me he almost felt bad about it, and he said if anything, it taught him that the system was just so flawed that if you have money and connections, you can just get out of anything. And he said it very matter-of-factly, and makes me think of the DUI. The guy killed 4 people, the affluenza teen in Texas. He killed 4 people in his car, and he was basically acquitted of most of the charges and put on parole because they said that he was too wealthy. He had a condition called affluenza, which is a real condition psychologically. He was too wealthy and too well off that his parents were unable to put restrictions on him, so he didn't know the ramifications of his actions because they could never really hold him accountable or punish him because his life had been so positive and prosperous. And my mom, this had the unbelievable insight because this story came when I first started working at a news station. She was watching my station for the first time, and she said, that story made me so angry because what about all the people in jail with porfluenza? And I thought that was absolutely brilliant and unbelievable clarity from my mother because tons of people are forced into action because of poverty or devastating circumstances to do something to survive that they don't necessarily want to do and would wish not to. And we give no leniency to them for porfluenza. But if someone has excess, they can get out of a crime of murder because their excess was so extravagant they couldn't tell the difference from right or wrong. Just those type of situations get you so frustrated. And another story in the news is North Korea. Whoever this new president is, they're going to inherit a volatile eastern region of the world because North Korea is now gathering plutonium and just doing aggressive nuclear cultivation without any regard to anyone else, and said they don't even care about sanctions being placed on them by the international community. So basically now they're like the teen that's lashing out and just drinking in front of their parents. Like at first they were getting punished and they were like trying to hide it, and now they're just like, I don't care, I'm just going to keep doing this, and you can ground me forever, I'm just going to keep leaving the house and doing the wrong thing. That's North Korea right now. Not to mention, China is building man-made islands in the ocean to claim territory from other countries and to keep military strength over the entire region. So things are getting dangerous out there, man. I mean, sometimes we lose sight of it because the political elections are overwhelming the news that there's a huge world out there, and some parts of it are getting really scary. But to keep some nationalism pride, the men's soccer team did win 4-0. So we have that. Get it? Maybe, the Copa America is a big deal. They beat Costa Rica. It's like, I think it's the second biggest national soccer tournament in the world, other than the World Cup. So, maybe we can get into it a little bit. The World Cup's fun when we get into it. Let's get into this one a little bit. That's the end of part one. For part two, I just have a short little anecdote. This is for the women out there. The worst thing you can do to a man to emasculate him is tell someone that he's like a brother to you. It's just the worst. And I know you mean it as a compliment, but like if you think it's hard to get out of the friend zone and you hate being stuck in the friend zone, it's impossible to get out of the family zone. And I had a coworker describe another coworker, female, said, "Oh, he's like a brother to me." And it was just like all the men in the room just let out this exhale of disappointment. And even he was just like, "Oh, I can't believe you did that." And then another male who hadn't been in the room walked in the room, and I said, "Hey, guess how she described him?" I'll give you a hint. She described him in a way she thought was positive, but was accidentally like one of the more offensive things you can say to describe your relationship with a male. And immediately he was like, "Oh, did she say he was like a brother to her?" And everyone just started laughing. It's the worst. I know you guys have good intentions, but it just feels, it's just like, ugh. It's like calling a 12-year-old boy like, "Oh, you're so cute." He doesn't want to be cute anymore. He's 12. Like, he wants to be like starting to be manly, even though he's not. Like, no heterosexual man, no matter what, wants to be said that they're like a brother to you. That's just, trust me on that one. I think that's it. I think that's all we got today. Game 3 of Golden State Cavs coming up. So the pee on your shoes bet takes another step. I think Cleveland's still favored. The line is close, just in this one game. But Golden State's playing unbelievable. So, yeah, it would be devastating for the NBA if there was a sweep. They would lose so much money on ticket sales and media revenue and commercials and all that stuff. So I feel like referees are going to have a lot of bad calls against Golden State that'll probably go for the Cavs, which the Cavs honestly might need at this point. But I still feel good about the pee on your shoes bet. Can feel the kidney stones coming on. So let's go Golden State. I'm out. Deuces.
I know you like to thank you. Don't stay.